All right, welcome to the Good Rookie Show. My name's Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all. And we are good rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And guess what? It's the Good Rookie Show.
Yep, yep.
Yes, that's right, y'all. As you know, we come from Toronto, Canada, the sixth. And man, Black History Month has been going well, Black History and beyond and beyond. And so today we're going to highlight some great highlights for this month, but also the hottest topics in sports and culture. So, Fahim, what we got going on for the first topic, brother?
Well, I guess we were going to talk about, like you said, mentioned Black History Month, power move by a young Black business. And I say the business, word business, you know, big things. OVO, October's very own. They have just collaborated with the NFL, National
Mhm.
Football League. Power move. Nelly J, what you got?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like a licensed capsule collection. It's a licensed NFL apparel with OVO. And I think if I'm the NFL, I'm counting my lucky stars. I'm working with Rock Nation for halftime. Now I have OVO. They're investing in the culture, Fahim, literally understanding that the market is changing and most of your fan base is Black and brown people. So it's just interesting to see how they're really going into this and trying to expand, right? But I'm really impressed with the OVO. OVO, as we all saw, they're now partnered with the G League Ignite team. They're also partnered with the CEBL team, Scarborough Shooting Stars. But with Nico, Mans from Scarborough, like they're really Fahim. I'm seeing a whole new like lane that they're kind of coming in where they're mixing in their style, right? Their clothing lines these these sport brands,
Mm-hmm.
sport teams, right?
Right.
And it's something I think is really interesting. I think they even did an OVO with NHL. I don't know if they did one yet, but if I'm the
Mm-hmm.
NHL or the NBA, I'm gonna be like, yo, OVO. But I mean, OVO, of course, worked with the Raptors, but I don't know. Like, I think the collection looks really nice for him. What's your thoughts on the collection itself when you saw it?
So you're just touched upon one of the collaborators, which you mentioned, Toronto Maple Leafs. What's correct? I got a
Mm-hmm.
list here of the ones
Perfect.
that they have. So you're right. It was OVO collaborated with the Toronto Maple Leafs, with TFC,
Ooh.
Toronto Football Club, Canada Goose, University of Toronto, Roots, Mitchell Ness, HBO, HBO.
I'm like, hold up. I'm like, did you say that correctly? Did I hear that correct? HBO.
That's right.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Did
Media
not
game
know.
on lock. Wilson. So the brand, Wilson, basketballs, etc. Timberland, pair of
Mm.
Tims, OVO Tims, Looney Tunes. That's right. Looney Tunes. Uh, the Godfather, like the actual Godfather brand from the movie. You know how they have t-shirts that have the Godfather with the iconic Godfather logo. Partnered with them. Also, FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan is very big in the gaming world,
Hmm.
Call of Duty, etc. So we're gonna add the NFL to the list of many big moves that OVO is collaborated with. My thoughts on it. So I found out from you, and I was like, "What NFL?" So there are some thoughts though. So they've now that knowing that they have collaborated with all these other brands, uh, OVO and the CFL, Canadian Football League, that feels like one. I understand the CFL is having a hard time economically, making it really viable to work, and their future is kind of up in the air. Uh, but I think that would be super cool to have an OVO CFL uh, collaboration. But since we're on the NFL, with the NFL, what they're doing, massive global brand. There is obviously no Toronto team, but it's
to
Right.
add
There's no
Fahim,
pay.
the
Yeah.
NFL is the most valued. Like they're the most valued franchise, right? The most the biggest valued franchise in the world is the Cowboys. So they have like the most valuable franchise in the world is in the NFL. I think
Hmm.
the top 10, I think 3 or 4 in NFL teams, which is crazy.
Hmm.
So
And also NFL merch. That's one thing, part of NFL culture, the merch.
yes.
They do very well in regards to NFL jersey, etc. The cool thing about this is beyond just a jersey merch deal. Went to the website and seen some of the designs that they have. They have for everything. I'm talking hoodies, down to, let's see, hoodies, the neck warmer or the neck
Yep.
gaiter, that t-shirts, like, and it's all really fire stuff. So this should sell off.
I mean, so sales opened up February 3rd. So they're on sale right now. So if you haven't gotten
Hmm.
your collection, I'm like, it's gonna be sell out just now, right? February 3rd. What was really dope was they had Lil Wayne. We all know Lil Wayne is like people love that, love him as an artist. And so he was one of the models for him, wearing a
Hmm.
Green Bay Packers version hoodie
Which has
and
been known
Letterman
with
jackets.
Lil
Like,
Wayne. He's actually a huge Packers fan. Like, he goes
yeah,
on Skip and
exactly.
Shannon. So
So if you're a Packers fan, you see Lil Wayne wearing that hoodie, like you're buying that, right? So I won't be surprised if things aren't sold out by mid-February, to be honest. And we
mhm.
know, like whenever OVO drops stuff, like Fahim, remember the Scarborough Shooting Stars game? We went to that game. They had an OVO capsule like license collection. Remember they
Yep.
had those shirts?
Yep.
There was people came to the game just to buy a shirt and they
Right.
sold out within before the game even started.
There was a
Before the game
lineup.
started, it was
Yeah.
sold out. So
Hmm.
like,
Hmm. Um, so with this OVO collaboration, they did have, also, you mentioned Little Wayne.
mm-hmm.
They also, who's a huge Green Bay Packers fan. They had Benny the Butcher, who's a huge Bills fan.
Yes, the Bills. Yep, I saw that one. Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, in regards to, so obviously they're keeping the culture in this collaboration. Is there any team, just off top, and I guess we'll have no way to track this because we don't work for OVO, but is there any team that you think would have the biggest following with this?
Oh, Cowboys. Cowboys,
Mm,
huge. I think
mm,
Cowboys, like the thing about the NFL, if it has a team logo on it, Fahim, right? Those fans are just avid, right?
right.
NFL fans are a different breed, right? They've been
Mhm.
like it's like passed down from generation to generation. So Cowboys being the most valued franchise, having the most fans in the world for Raiders, right? Cowboy Raiders, certain fan bases are known to have really big fandom, not just within the city, but over everywhere. So I think Raiders, anything. I mean, people in Scarborough had Raiders jackets. Remember back in the day, they had the Raider type jackets.
Mhm.
And they weren't even Raiders fans, but the
Right.
Raiders logo is always a nice logo. People like it. So I
Right.
think the
Very much
Raiders,
influenced by NWA, I'd have to say.
yeah,
Mhm.
thank you for dropping that as well. And was big of that. So yeah, I just think Cowboys, Raiders, Giants, Green Bay Packers, all those fan bases are pretty big. You know what I mean? Like they will sell out pretty quickly. Even the Eagles, right? You Eagle fans are pretty much also a traveling fan base. The 49ers fan base, they travel as well. The teams that have been winning, even Bronco fans. I'm not trying to get me a ting. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's stylish. It's in the culture. Like you can wear that at, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna see enough people at barbecues wearing these hoodies, even though it's summertime. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, y'all, these will
Mhm.
sell off. But to your point, who will sell the most? I think probably Cowboys, only
The
because
Cowboys, yeah.
they're the
I
most
could see,
fans.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
true. I could see those fans showing out. Also, I think Buffalo Bills, just because, well, obviously he's very smart. You get Benny the Butcher up in there, but also Buffalo and Toronto, very, very close. And actually, I shouldn't just say Toronto, because obviously Detroit, but people really don't buy Lions apparel because they're not really that type of team. But Buffalo is, and Buffalo's on the ride. I can definitely see Buffalo doing very well with the OVO collaboration.
So Fahim, we kind of give our theories as to who will sell out, whatever. So I'm
Mhm.
looking at the website right now to see what has been sold out, right, for this
Okay.
collection.
All right.
And the teams that we named, I think a couple that we named has sold out. So the hoodies has sold out for the Niners, which I said, yeah, they're known Giants. We mentioned them. Miami is sold out, and the Rams, those hoodies. We didn't
Mm,
mention the Rams but Miami fans also, they have a huge fan base, the Latam community, right? And Rams. So those four hoodies have already sold out, Fahim. But I'm assuming they probably didn't buy as much. Like if I'm going to make a line like this, if I'm going to have more in stock, but the Cowboys also sold out, which you mentioned. So the Raiders, right? So did the Buffalo Bills, which you mentioned, and Packers. So all
mhm.
those hoodies have sold out already. And the jackets that sold out already, yeah. All those jackets for those teams are also sold out. So
Mm.
it's
It's funny.
something. It's
Did
like,
they have did they have a varsity jacket for
mm-hmm.
Miami?
For who? Yeah, Miami.
Miami.
Looks
They have
dope.
and it's sold
Yeah.
out. Huh. Yeah,
All sold
so
out.
it's our
It was like black in the
yeah,
middle, and it
right.
had like they have the turquoise. Yeah, it looks lit. All sold out
Right.
already.
Yeah,
Um,
I just wonder because in Miami, I've never been, but I assume it's even at night, it's pretty warm there. I don't know if they need the winter jacket in Miami, but I
yeah,
guess if you're a Miami fan, you probably travel, and if or even this is pretty much going to be a collector's item.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure they sold out because they have a
exactly.
super limited amount. So and selling out's also a good thing for
Yeah.
business
So all the
also
jackets are
for
sold
demand.
out.
So
All the hoodies are
mhm,
sold out. To your
right,
point.
right.
Um,
Shot
the
shout
only
out.
thing that's available now is like the long sleeve t-shirts. A
Hmm.
few are available. For the but the Cowboys and Bills are sold out already. But for the long sleeve t-shirts, they're available. The jogging pants, it's already done for the Raiders as we talked about, But and they have t-shirts, right? But the Packer t-shirts already sold out as well. So guys, you know what I mean? Get your stuff. But I really hope they do more OVO NFL collaboration. That would be nice.
Hmm.
Because it is going to help the NFL just market, and the partnership is, what you want, right? So, but yeah, like this is what I'm saying. The NFL, you can tell like they're trying to invest into black owned items. So let's see what else they do. But of course, this is a long journey. The NFL has a lot of dirt on their hand, right? So this is at least this is like a 50 plus year commitment of them needing to invest more, right?
Hmm.
And so let's see but big up to OVO. Like they're making
Oh,
moves. They're in the sports lane. And they're sports fans, so it makes sense, right? They're the sports lane. They go to games, they're investing in teams, in leagues, in franchises. So I think this is dope for them to do. And Fahim, I'm really thinking, you know, they're gonna have an OVO team, an own team in some professional league. I'm not sure when, but I think if I'm OVO, that's the goal, is to own a team, right? That
mm,
we can run, right?
mm.
So if I'm them, I'm thinking that lane, to be honest,
Right,
or part
right.
owner
Of
of a team kind of thing. So
course.
yeah.
I totally see. Actually, so the biggest surprise I would have to say for me is that I didn't see a OVO Toronto Blue Jays collaboration.
Ooh, that'd be yo.
And
MLB needs them. MLB call OVO today. Hello,
that desperately because
y'all need y'all need some swag. Y'all need
right
some color, some
we
seasoning upon them thing. Yeah, I'm saying, call them
we
up,
all
MLB. Call them up.
we all know the Major League Baseball how they've been struggling over even the last 10 years in regards to you know blacks following baseball is on the
Blacks being
decline.
in baseball,
Blacks
black people
playing,
being in
yeah,
baseball.
and the timing actually obviously this OVO they know what they're doing but I'm just stating out there that you know the Blue Jays just on this offseason for the first time, like we mentioned on a few episodes where ago, they just incorporated beef patties to the
Mm-hmm.
menu when they've been around for 30 years in
Jamaican
Toronto
patties.
and never
Mm-hmm.
had a Jamaican beef patty there. So, um, Drake did headlines, you know, at at the time it was Rogers Center, we'll call it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he's very much I'm just that's the biggest surprise I think. And there's obviously a reason why behind the scenes why it hasn't happened, but that would be especially with Vladdy and Bo Bichette and the movement that's happening
Color.
around with the Jays. Just a thought. Just a thought.
No, great point, Fahim. So OVO, we're giving some ideas. Get your own team, okay? Find a team in the major league. That I think that's your goal. I believe that's a goal. So we're hoping you can get to that. That'd be great. On
Mm.
top of that, also, Blue Jays call them, holler at them. Because I would actually, I mean, I actually have quite a few Blue Jays t-shirts, but if it was an OVO like Blue Jays type thing, you Lord of mercy, I go
Fire,
there. Yep, that was
fire,
sell off.
fire.
Sell
Hmm.
off. Okay.
All right. What else you got, Nelly J?
I guess that's it. Let's go to
Oh, you want to go? All right, let's go to for the culture.
for the culture. We like to highlight individuals for the culture. And today we're going to highlight just an entire movement, Faheem. The movement. The movement is women in sports. So big up to the GSCA that spoke about this. And I actually love this. There's so much investment, Faheem, in women's sports. And this is another example, okay? So there's a new cricket league for women, okay, that will be in India. All right. So it's a professional league. And cricket is the number one sport in the world outside of soccer and cricket. Those two are this like on their own level, right? Every league wants to get to that point. So they're going to debut their new league for him in March of 2023. So just around the corner, right? Which is also, I think, the month of women's, I think it's the month of women in sports, or it's Women's Sports Month, something like that. But that's just dope. However, they were doing bids for him to own these groups, to own these teams, right? There were 16 groups actually participated with five highest bids, and these teams were being bidded for to, right 92.9 million to 158 million. Now thinking back, Fahim, when like the MLS started, right? They were like what, a million, 2 million. Looking back in the day when leagues started for these sports, they were never in the 92.9 mil to 158 million range bidding to own one of these teams in a women's cricket startup league, Fahim, right? So they've sold five franchises for almost 600 million for him in Mumbai. Five for 600 million. What? Women's sports, if the investment is there. Your thoughts, Fahim, on the WPL, Women's Premier League, doing this right now and starting a cricket league. How I feel about this, Fahim?
I'm just wondering where this actually lands in regards to women's leagues, period, on the globe. Like, because when I think of women's league, we obviously know the WNBA is going through their issues. You have the NWSL, the women's soccer league, which does pretty good. You have the women's hockey league, which is pretty new. I'm just thinking there really isn't for women's sports, and we've discussed this many times, where women's sports on the individual basis is very good, but for a league itself, there hasn't been one that's really cracked.
Well, keep in mind that there's not
Mhm.
really a league. Like, even when it comes to the like the women's league do well in Europe. Like they don't have the issues
Right.
we have here. They
Hmm.
don't. North America is a different construct because
Hmm.
remember, in Europe they have actual clubs. So like, for example, in France they have a basketball club. Girls come in that club when they're 12, 13 for him. And they're
Hmm.
playing within that club until they're professionals, right? They have a club system, right? Like in soccer, like in other leagues, they have a club system where now you're kind of farming and kind of growing this talent within your club, and then to play in the professional league when they get older, or national league or whatever. So they have a
Hmm.
system that the pipeline from like amateur or school up to professional, and that pipeline has been there for women. In basketball, we know this. Like, there really isn't a club. The club started, 25 years ago. The woman, so you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's young. The WNBA is a very young franchise compared to the ones that have been around in Europe a lot longer. But to your point, there really isn't, no one has ever done a list before as to the most valued women franchises, because they don't care
Hmm.
to, Fahim. They don't care to.
Right.
Forbes will do a sports franchise list, but actual women's only most valuable professional women's list. So what's the most valuable franchise in women? That has not been done yet. It
Hmm.
hasn't been. So we don't know what is the most valued franchise team globally. That hasn't been done. But maybe we can say, hey, yo, Forbes, get on with it, right? But I'll say this: I don't think any league for women's league is selling teams for that much right now.
Right.
For a startup. This is a startup
Mhm.
league, right? At this pace, right? So, I, I don't know what the other like women's soccer league franchises are. Maybe I could look that up. But in terms of cricket, yeah, like you're bidding for a team for 100 million for a startup team for him. I have not seen that happen in a while,
Mhm.
right?
So
So
it looks to be that this league is going to be the most expensive women's cricket league in the world, obviously. Cricket is very big overseas in India. On this side of the pond, not so much. And all they would have to do really is really work their market. And it just comes down to population. And in India, having, I don't know, close to 2 billion people there, you would have, cricket being a number one sport amongst 2 billion people. So it would be a position where you'd have women and men watching cricket games, which would sometimes take days to complete. So they've actually changed the format to what's called 2020. 2020 is a shorter version. It can be completed within a few hours, much like baseball. And reason why I think this is going to do well amongst women is women before obviously had an interest in cricket, but didn't have the representation. So they'd be watching men all the time. Now having an opportunity where women can still support and see their own representation on the pitch playing, remember, you're doing a huge market. So I can definitely see this league being going straight to the top of being the most valuable women's sports franchise on the planet.
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I was looking at what other franchises are up there, and I found that the National Women's Soccer League, the Angel City, they're 100 million value.
Okay. And
And
that would be
so
Serena's team that she's invested in. Is that I'm pretty sure.
I
Serena
believe
as remember
Serena is an
Serena her
owner.
Serena's daughter. Remember the one that Serena has a daughter that she's given ownership to? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
there's quite a
Is that
few, yeah,
Mhm.
quite a few celebrities that are owning of this team. There's
Right?
Christina Aguilera, Gabrielle Union, Olympian Sean Johnson, Andrew East, NFL player. You got Rachel Zoe, designer.
Mhm.
And then other investors, Natalie Portman, Eva. So a lot of these guys are investing. Serena Williams, you mentioned, right? Jennifer Gardner, they're all original owners, and then of course, as you know, Serena joined them as well. So
Mhm.
but they're 100 million in terms of ownership value. And then Kevin Durant, Sue Bird, and Eli Manning, they own the Gotham FC, so they're 40
Right.
million.
Right.
And then there's a Washington Spirit, we're valued at 35 million, right?
Mhm.
So the value for the soccer women's league is going up as well. So having 100 million investment in your franchise, having a celebrity supporting it, there's a big push, right, to push this,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
push these leagues, and the celebrities backing it, like a lot of celebrity ownership backing it
Right.
as well. So the fact that there's one women's team that 100 million in value, that's pretty good.
That's very good. Only
In
thing is, I think
2021 that happened, so that's pretty
the
good.
only
Yeah.
problem that I think the NWSL, the Women's Soccer League here, the disadvantage they have to over the Women's Cricket League is they still are dealing with a lot of competition here.
Mm-hmm.
While I feel this Women's Cricket League is going to have less competition. It's going right to the top of the charts. You're going to have the Men's Cricket League there and then this Women's Cricket League because they don't
Oh
really
yeah,
have,
for
you know,
sure.
so
For
that's
sure,
why I
I
could.
agree. Like, I don't think the National Women's Soccer League is going to be as valuable as them, but the fact that this one team is at 100 million already, and
Yes.
it's going to keep growing, it's a good starting point for North American women franchises, right? We mentioned that not every franchise in North America does really well, and on top of that, the fact that their average teams are 2 to 5 million, right, roughly, right? And that was years ago, right? Now we're seeing an uptick in their value already, and we're seeing other athletes investing in it. So clearly,
Hmm.
there's something that they're seeing that they think would be better. But of course, right? Like
Right.
cricket is the number one sport in the league, but I'm saying
Right.
soccer number one, cricket number two. So I'm saying those two types of, like, the sport has to drive the product. So if I'm going to invest for him, I'm going to invest in the number one sport in any country, because we know that that's
Hmm.
the best sport in the world, right? So the ROI in that investment is always there. But the fact that women are doing so well in soccer, listen, soccer games, soccer matches are so much fun. Like, because they're soccer fans, right? And soccer fans watch soccer, women or men. They don't care what it is. That's what. But that energy is not that the same in basketball, where I feel like not every basketball fan watches women basketball, but that will change. It's gonna improve and grow as time goes on. But I'm just saying, overall for women's sports, it's a win to see women's sport franchises be valued at so high when back in the day they weren't even considered to be a franchise. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
pretty
So
cool.
looking at the NWSL and their success, clearly, of what they're doing, they're going in the right direction. They got the right ownership. That's going to be our version of a success story. But seeing what they've accomplished in such a short amount of time, I think we can put that times five of what this league is going to do over there with their growth. If we revisit this in say 2 to 3
Mm-hmm.
years,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
going to
Yeah, cricket's
go
huge.
completely through the roof.
Yeah, it's gonna grow. Like,
Mhm.
and great decision by the I think it's called the Cricket's board. I think they call it BCCI. So they're
Mhm.
the cricket national governing body, right? And
Okay.
so them wanting to launch this league is such a great idea. So big up to them too.
Mhm.
So
All right. I'm also going to send a quick shout out to Chris Paul. Actually, I know we do shout outs at the end, but it just feels relevant to give him this shout out right now. Chris Paul and Larry Fitzgerald. They invested uh, in a cricket team. So I wouldn't be
mm,
surprised with this new women's league if they wouldn't want to get involved with that also. They invested as a collective. Let's see here. Their team is called the Rajasthan Royals, and they're minority owners in the franchise, which is worth more. Actually, I'll give you how much, just a ballpark. How much do you think that this cricket franchise is worth? Chris Paul, Larry Fitzgerald, and Calvin Beecham.
probably like
Ballpark.
well, they're not more than the Cowboys, so I would say I don't know, like 600 million.
So it says here, as minority investors of the franchise, which is worth more than $1 billion.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Damn, that's a
A
lot.
billion dollars. So that goes to speak of just, cricket itself, especially being on, like we keep saying, this side of the pond, Canada, US. Uh, the world is bigger than the bubble that we know.
Yep,
So,
yep, it's true.
uh, yeah, shout out to Chris Paul. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Paul is in early on the women's league.
Yeah, so that team is 1 billion, and the most valued franchise, the Cowboys, they're worth 8 billion. So, Lord, lots of
Mm-hmm.
money in
Yeah,
lots of money,
lots of money. So shout out to
lots
the
of
women's
money.
cricket league, most definitely.
But big up to the
Uh,
women's sports, man. Having
mhm.
a franchise in 100 millions, like starting off like startup, right? It took the National Women's Soccer League to 10 years to get to 100 million for one team.
Mhm.
They took them in the startup bid at 100 million. So to your point, yeah, they're going to be leaps and bounds, but it's cricket, so it's huge over
Right,
there, man. Huge.
right, right.
Big up to them. All right.
All right. So Nelly J, why don't we close this out with that's
That's
absurd.
absurd. Faheem, bro, what was absurd this week? What was absurd?
There was a food vendor that has on for Black History Month offered a extremely, shall we say, offensive. And I guess we're gonna have to look at the term of what to consider offensive, but they served for the first day of Black History Month watermelon, chicken, and I'm missing one more: watermelon, chicken,
Waffles.
and
Waffles.
waffles.
So chicken and
So
waffles and
and
watermelon.
watermelon for the
Um,
first day of Black History Month.
and can we assume the chicken was fried for him? Can we assume the chicken was fried? Absurd.
Absurd.
So Shade Room reported on this. A big up to Shade Room, and I was shocked. I was hold on. We mean the first day of Black History Month. You're gonna give these, and the students were at Nyack Middle School in New York, and New York is a pretty much Black people live in that area. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you don't know what's appropriate, like teachers, but again, it's the food vendors. So did they tell the school that they're going to do this? Clearly, they weren't aware. But parents were very offended and they were very upset that on the first day of Black History Month, let's serve the blackest of the blackest uh, option for the menu. The fact that they'll do chicken and waffles with watermelon for dessert. Like, is watermelon even in season right now, Faheem? Is watermelon even in season currently? This is wild. Absolutely wild and culturally insensitive, like, or insensitively, like, it's just like you really think this is appropriate, right? Now, if the school said, hey, we asked our students what they want for the first day of Black History Month, and the vote, that was the vote that was voted, and then you serve it, that's different. But you don't assume that they want the most blackest black meal because they're Black people on Black History Month. So I just think it was very insensitive. And, you know, I'm not mad. It's just absurd because it's like, yo, man, you got to, come on, you got to know these things. So food vendor, whoever you are, like, bruh, get it together. Get it together.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, and they apologize, right? But it's still, come on, man.
Right. And I would accept their apology. I mean, I think it's just, you know, a little tone deaf, you know, but I generally, I'm going to give them benefit of doubt and assume that to middle school kids, their intent was not to throw shade. Like, I think they really just didn't understand and said, hey, you know what, like, let's do something nice for the kids that would highlight maybe their past, you know, because often, let's be real, often when we talk about Black history, you know, we do often revert back to slavery and that time period, right? So, I mean, hey, I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt and say, hey, you know what, that came to mind, but that was a bad miscalculation. I'll say that.
Yeah. Bad miscalculation, but absurd. That's one where you don't think you're gonna, like, when I read it, I was just like, what are we doing? Yeah. Black History Month, man. So hopefully, again, these are just lessons learned, but this is why you can tell some vendors don't have Black people working. Like they have no Black friends, because there's no way you're gonna do, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know the culture, they don't understand what's not good, what's not good. So
right.
it was a miss. They're thinking, oh, I know they like fried chicken and waffles, let's help them out. And we're like, bruh, we like it, but you ain't got to be so blatant about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're like, they're always rapping about Roscoe's chicken and waffles. You know, like, you know, Roscoe's is like the place. So, anyways, whatever. Absurd.
All
right. Nelly J, well, let's put this episode in the books.
Yeah, y'all, that was the Good Rookies show. I mean, just a lot of funny topics, but just, you know, great seeing a lot of movements, things happening in the world in women's sports, OVO, man's from Toronto and Scarborough. So just happy to see that, you know, things are occurring. So I think for shout outs this week, let's see, shout outs this week. This is an interesting one. I do want to give a shout out to women's sports, number one, because, like, hello, but also in Black History Month, you know, I want to give a shout out, I guess, to Kia Nurse, who has just signed with the Seattle Storm. So big up to her. She's now with that team, so she's going to be, I'm curious to see, you know, she's been injured, Faheem, right? And big up to women's college basketball. Those games have been lit. A lot of different things have been happening. So if you're not watching, you know, we're going to come up to March Madness, you know, in March next month. So I'm hoping folks are watching it because there's quite a few competitors in the women's college space. So, and it's pretty, like, teams are just upsets everywhere. Even in men's side, Faheem, college, right? You're seeing, like, good teams losing. So, yeah, I want to pick up women's sports, college, but of course, Kia Nurse on her new venture with Seattle Storm. So pick up to her.
Nice.
How about you?
Mine simple. I just shout out to everybody. Black History Month. You know how we get down. We're always looking for those topics that are overlooked by mainstream, bringing it to our base. So I just want to shout out everybody who during this Black History Month still rocks with us and appreciates the content and the highlight and our purpose that we're going with Good Rookies podcast. So that's my shout out.
That's great. That's great. All right, y'all.
put this episode in the books, Nelly J.
Thanks, guys. So this is a good rookie show. If you had a good time, you enjoyed yourself, please like and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell two friends. Faheem.
Tell a friend to tell two friends. I like that. We're on all platforms if you're looking for us. Once again, that's a good rookie show, and we out.
Peace.